1 on the clock. 3, good! Oh my goodness! Left to the key, out front Strus. Max, 3, got it! Mitchell spins, shoots, banks it in! That may be the dagger! Perfect pass!
Oh my! Showtime here in downtown Cleveland! Welcome back to the road to 16, fueled by True North Convenience Stores. John and Serena here inside Scotiabank Arena. It is the practice courts for the Toronto Raptors, which are back in the series. A victory by Toronto last night makes it a 2-1 series in favor of the Cavaliers. We look forward to Game 4 on Sunday afternoon. You knew that the Raptors would have a response, and to their credit, they sure did.
To their credit, everything went right for them, right? Like, if you're the Cavs rewatching this film, you're looking at yourself and you're thinking, Toronto did everything that they had to do. You talk to the guys after the locker room, and all they're talking about is, look, this is a time for us to respond. And that's really what the playoffs are about, right? Darko clearly made his adjustments. Now, how do the Cavaliers react to that? We saw some things that they were working on today in film and in practice, so we'll see if they can translate those things.
It is a long road to the finals. Series can be long as well. Here's our At the Bike, fueled by True North Convenience Stores, as head coach Kenny Atkinson had this to say after Game 3.
Well, like I said, give them a ton of credit. I thought their defense was they did a great job on both of them. We gotta get our spacing better too. I don't think our spacing was great. That usually hurts, your turnover game. But again, give them credit. I thought they imposed their will though, right? Like it's like, it's halftime. It's we took a punch, we came back, it's tied, and then that beginning of the third quarter, they just I think they took a rebound out of our hands. They drove it kind of right down our throats. The force was just way on their side. Their ability to kind of be the more aggressive team.
Well, a word you heard a lot out of Kenny was force. It was the Cavaliers which took the force to the Raptors in Games 1 and 2, and the Raptors had the better of that in Game 3.
It wasn't just Kenny Atkinson talking about force, right? Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley after the game. I think I clocked 15, 16 different times they used the word. That was kind of the theme of the day, and also the theme of practice here today. And it's not just on the defensive end. A lot of talk about having to make sure to play with that force on the offensive end as well. It's going to be a big crowd. There was a lot of energy again in the building for Game 3. Expect that in Game 4. The team with the bigger force is going to win out.
James Harden echoed those same sentiments in the locker room after Game 3.
Just a little bit of everything, from not watching the film. I think just transition, turn the basketball over, giving offensive rebounds, just a little bit of everything, things that you can't allow to happen, especially, on the road.
You guys are number one in the playoffs in frequency of isolations, but it's up across the playoffs. Why is it when you get into playoff basketball that isolations go up across the NBA, do you think?
Because you play in the same team, so you can't sit there and play the same defense. Teams making adjustments, and different defensive principles are implemented in the playoffs, and coaches and personnel, whatever they feel like gives them the best chance of winning the game. They make the adjustment.
When you guys are that ISO heavy, how do you feel like it benefits you guys offensively?
I mean, we got two of the best ISO, scorers and playmakers, in the game. So it's our job to get to our spots, and for us as decision makers, whether we shoot the basketball or create an opportunity for somebody else. So tonight we just do that at a high level, and it showed.
Last one. You're still learning this group. It's been a few months, so just how eager are you to see how everybody responds?
We will respond. We will. We got no other choice. We didn't expect to win 16 games in a row. You know what I mean? So, guys are a little frustrated, which, I get it. They're supposed to be. We're supposed to be. But, find a way to weather the storm, figure it out, and be better for Game 4. Which I think the first three quarters, we didn't play well at all. And then, it was a 2-point game. We had plenty of opportunities. Still haven't played well where we should have been winning the game. And, they going to, I don't know what the hell run was it, but credit to them. You don't want to take them. They're a good team, especially defensively. So, figure it out. it's a part of the whole process. It's fun.
Adjustments, punches, counter punches is what the NBA playoffs are all about, and it's the Cavs' turn to counter punch in Game 4.
Yeah, and look, you heard James Harden just talk about the turnovers, right? 22 turnovers. Cavaliers, over 22% of their possessions resulted in a turnover. That was 23 points off of those. That's where it all starts. And going back to that word force, that was what Donovan was also saying contributed to a lot of those turnovers. So you combine that with making some adjustments here in Game 4, and hopefully Cavs are in a good spot.
Meanwhile, it was the Cavs that forced 40 turnovers through the first 2 games. Coming up on our next segment, it will be assistant coach Trevor Hendry. He has all the answers. He'll break down Game 3 and set up Game 4. That's all straight ahead right here on the Rock Entertainment Sports Network. The road to 16 is fueled by True North Convenience Stores. True North Convenience Stores and New Phoenix Energy are the perfect matchup. Right now, grab 2 Phoenix Energy drinks for just $5. True North Stores and True Rewards. Fast, friendly, clean. By Sarah Auto Park, your buzzer beater for greater selection, Sarah Auto Park. Make your shot with 5 great brands and dozens of pre-owned vehicles. Visit SarahAutoPark.com. By Engie, which is helping businesses accelerate their transition to a cleaner energy future with renewables, sustainable solutions, and the dependability they need. Let's act together. And by Toyota, your Northern Ohio Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
The road to 16 is fueled by True North Convenience Stores. New Phoenix Energy Drinks. Natural caffeine, 0 sugar, plus hydration to keep you in the game. Grab 2 Phoenix Energy Drinks for $5 at participating True North stores. Find a location with the True Rewards app. And Toyota, your Northern Ohio Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
Hey, we're back here on the road to 16 with our featured guest. It is assistant coach Trevor Hendry. Trevor, we're going to talk about this series in a moment. Let's start here, however, the midseason acquisitions. James Harden, Dennis Schroeder, Keon Ellis. How have they better prepared this team for moments like these here in the postseason?
I think with James and Dennis, obviously their experience, right? Their playoff experience, helping our younger group. And then with Keon giving us another able defender that can guard multiple positions and a three-point threat offensively.
Where do you see that manifest itself most on the floor? So many ups and downs, times when games could go sideways. When have you seen that through 3 games, that leadership, that veteran ability step up so far here through 3 games?
Yeah, you can just see their maturity.
Yeah.
Their maturity, like those guys have seen everything.
Right.
So nothing that they've seen in a game is going to get them rattled or off their game. So them being able to calm down the other guys helps, and just leaning in on their experience throughout the course of this series.
All right, let's talk about Game 3. What changed the most did you see in Game 3 as compared to Games 1 and 2?
Yeah, it's a good question. I felt like just our ability to take care of the ball. We know that they're a high turnover forcing team, and I felt like we did good to okay in the first couple games, and then last night the wheels kind of fell off there for a little bit. So our ability to take care of the ball, because we know if we do, we'll be able to create high-quality shots.
When you watch the film back and you're just keying in on the spacing, like what stood out the most to you in Game 3?
Yeah, I think we didn't get to our spacing quick enough. I felt like, we got the right matchup, and then it took us too long to get to the right spacing, and then we were racing the clock. So I think if we are able to get those guys in the action earlier and be able to get to our spacing earlier, we can attack with more time to operate.
Trevor, what do you do as a coaching staff? I mean, obviously we know first 2 games we forced 40 turnovers, right? Game 3, we weren't comfortable with the way we protected the basketball. What do you do as a coaching staff? Obviously you tell the guys, hey, we got to be better turnover-wise, but X's and O's-wise, what do you do as a coaching staff to try to manifest that and make it happen moving forward?
I think you just try to give them the answers to the test as much as possible. Let them know what they're going to see, so when it happens in the game, they're not surprised. And I felt like we've done a good job of that through the first couple of games. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they're just an outlier, and we hopefully that's what Game 3 was for us.
Yeah, you've been through a lot of these playoff wars. You've seen different series in the way they've played out. How do you reconcile Games 1 and 2? Things went as planned. You won those games both handily. Game 3 it didn't. How do you reconcile having to make tweaks, having to make adjustments with, hey, let's do with what got us here and let's play to our strengths?
I think that's always the balance, right? Like you don't want to go overboard trying to make adjustments because you've had success in the previous couple games. But I do think there's, like with everything, there's a couple things you can change here and there, and maybe there are minor tweaks so that you can be better in game 4. And I think today we did a pretty good job of that, not overreacting to one bad game, to one bad quarter,
Right.
but being able to know that this is what's going to happen and this can help us prepare ourselves for game 4.
Talked a little bit about the offensive side. Defensively, though, what did you think about it in game 3? Where did you see some slip-ups that maybe you want to be better at in game 4?
I felt like they got into our paint too much. I felt like we didn't hit them early. I felt like they were too comfortable. I think we could have done a better job of, putting the pressure on them like they were kind of doing to us offensively. And I think making their catches tougher, making their shots tougher. They hit tough shots.
Yeah.
And then basically knowing who their shooters are, their personnel, and at the end of the day, rebounding. I think we could have done a better job of keeping them off the glass and kind of jumpstart our offense.
When you look back at the film and you see a lot of the shots you guys had were great shots, right? Like a lot of them were just wide open looks, and you just missed them. Like that's gonna happen. To go back to John's point of like not overreacting, staying into who you are. What did you make of the shot quality in game 3?
Yeah, I think the shot quality for the most part, like you said, was pretty good, especially when we were able to get downhill and get to the paint. That's the one, the many gifts that James has, his ability to pass and create. And the times he was getting to the paint and spraying it out, we were getting open looks.
Yeah.
Sometimes you make them, sometimes you miss them. I think to your point of, going back and watching it and being like, hey, guys, our process was right for the most part. Clean up some of the turnovers, and we'll get those same shots in game 4 and we'll make them.
Piggyback on that question, your comfort level with 45 threes on 81 field goal attempts, okay, considering the quality of shots?
I think you always try to get to the rim. I think we didn't get to the rim as much as we did in the first couple games. I'd love to balance that out and have a few more rim attempts and it be 35, 36 threes. I think we can do a better job of getting J.A. and Evan more touches around the paint, around the basket, and I think that will open up even better shot quality for the threes.
The word that kept coming up when talking to the guys in the locker room or, even Kenny is just force, right? And I think even James said it, the guy obviously that's been to 17 postseasons, like the biggest key in the playoffs is who comes out and plays with that force. What does that look like on the court? Where is that manifesting itself the most?
I think it starts with our ability to play early in the clock. I think too many possessions last night, we were, like I said, racing the shot clock. I think there's times where we can bring it up a little faster with some more pace, and we can get into actions earlier, and that will help us kind of put the pressure on them defensively to guard us.
And Trevor, you've known James a pretty long time. Where do you see like his biggest strength with this team? Also, like in how he communicates, because it seems like since day one he's come in here and really asserted himself from a communication standpoint.
He's an elite communicator, and it's not just with team; it's with everyone. Coaches, performance, the players on the court. He's seen it all, and I think it would be fair for us to not listen to what he has to say. So I think and everything he says has nothing to do with him personally. It's how can I help the team, and because he's been in so many of these situations, we rely on him to kind of help our younger guys get through this stage of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Trevor, we appreciate it, my friend. Continue good luck. Thanks for your time, and let's get him in game 4. All right, the road to 16 continues right after this on the Rock Entertainment Sports Network.
The road to 16 is fueled by True North convenience stores. New Phoenix energy drinks. Natural caffeine, zero sugar, plus hydration to keep you in the game. Grab 2 Phoenix energy drinks for $5 at participating True North stores. Find a location with the True Rewards app. And Toyota, your Northern Ohio Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
All right, our thanks to assistant coach Trevor Hendry to get you set for game 4. It is Sunday afternoon here in Toronto. Let's get to our play of the game. It's driven by Sarah Auto Park. It occurred about midway through the second quarter. Jalen Tyson playing his best game of the series, made a big-time play, heading to the sideline and creating a turnover. Serena, I know you were busy. You were doing sideline for the radio side. I'm telling you, I had the draft up, the NFL draft up during the game from our vantage point. The second that he made that play, guess who got picked by the Saints 8th overall? I'm telling you, it was right that second. His brother gets picked karma, I guess.
Can I admit something to you?
You may.
Even though I was working the radio
Somebody else
sideline
had the draft on
and
as well.
very much involved in the game, I also had the draft
Was that right?
up.
Well, didn't it happen instantaneously?
It happened instantaneously, but at the same time, it was when Brandon Ingram actually he got his finger up Jared Allen's nose,
Right.
and he's bleeding.
He was bleeding.
So the great Spiro on the sidelines fixing him up, and so I think it's a great time for me to take another peek at the draft. Meanwhile, play-by-play Tim Alcorn on the radio sees me, and he just tosses down to me asking me for more on Jared Allen, and I had to just admit on air, I got to be honest, Tim, as much as I am very much involved in this broadcast, I'm involved in the Tyson family. I wanted to see you.
We have to have a talk with Tim. He can't just blindly throw you stuff.
I mean,
down
come on,
there
he's
on the
got to
floor.
know I was trying to keep tabs in the NFL draft, not
Clearly.
Jared Allen's bloody nose.
Clearly, yeah. And Jalen had something to say about it after the game.
It was sometime out, I think in the second quarter, somewhere around there. So I was in the game when he got picked, which I knew was probably gonna happen. Yeah, him being a top 10 pick, I was telling people I would bet my rookie contract on that. Like I bet my money on him, and I bet on him having a really good career. And I'll be there to support him, and I'm sure he'll be there for me.
Was someone in charge of giving you the news?
Yeah, somebody was in charge, head of security.
Did I see he was wearing the same shoes that you wore at the draft?
Yeah, I thought that was strange. He was trying to copy Big Bro. Like, I'm like, man, do you own? No, I'm just playing. Yeah, he wore the same shoes I wore. It's pretty cool, as a big bro, all you want to do is just try to help as much as you can, and all the negatives and all the bad stuff that I've done, just try to pour into him and make sure he doesn't do the same thing. And I want him to be great, and honestly, I want him to be better than me. I want him to have a better career than me. Like, that means I did my job as a big bro.
Oh, a big day for the Tyson family. Congratulations. Would have been a little bit better if the Cavaliers would have come away with the victory. I personally was rooting for two Tysons to be in Northeast Ohio. The Browns picked next. They went 9th. Jordan went 8th.
I think we were all rooting for all the Tysons.
One Tyson's
to be,
not enough. Two would have been
it is
fantastic.
Not enough.
Yeah,
the
right.
Tyson family is amazing. We love having his parents around. And, I was just thinking how incredible it is that you have two sons in completely different professional sports,
yeah.
both getting picked in the first round, John. I mean, that is, you can count on a handful of fingers that has happened where you got siblings picked in the first round of two different sports. What an accomplishment.
Yeah, hats off to the Tyson family. We're going to step away. We'll be back to wrap things up right after this on the road to 16. The road to 16 is fueled by True North Convenience Stores. True North Convenience Stores and new Phoenix Energy are the perfect matchup. Right now, grab 2 Phoenix Energy drinks for just $5. True North Stores and True Rewards. Fast, friendly, clean. And by Toyota, your Northern Ohio Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places. John and Serena here inside the practice court at Scotiabank Arena. We are getting set for Game 4 on Sunday. That's a matinee ball game as we take a look at the road to the finals driven by Toyota. Last night, the Timberwolves at home whipped up on the Nuggets. They've taken a 2-1 lead in that series. And how about the Atlanta Hawks? The Hawks take out the Knicks 109-108 to take a 2-1 lead in that series. 5 years ago, it was Trae Young who relished that villain role in a matchup against the Knicks. C.J. McCollum seems to be doing the same.
Quite a different Atlanta Hawks team now. And sometimes new situations just rejuvenate really talented players. We're seeing that with C.J. after he got out of Washington. He had a great night, 23. Kuminga off the bench, he's playing very well. Obviously, we all know how talented Jalen Johnson is.
Don't forget about Gabe Vincent. Gabe Vincent has been terrific. He's been a stabilizer coming over from L.A. off that Atlanta bench. That is a team to be reckoned with, and the Knicks are certainly finding that out. All right, the next stop, fueled by True North Convenience Stores, is actually downstairs. On the floor will be Game 4, Cavs and Raptors. Cavs have a 2-1 lead in the series. I thought Donovan Mitchell at the podium was interesting in terms of how cool he was. He says, look, playoffs are a long grind. You're going to lose games. Let's stay focused. Let's not overreact to this. Let's take care of business in Game 4.
You said a great word, overreact.
Yeah.
I think we hear that a lot too in the postseason. Kenny even admitted, that earlier in his career, he felt like he was more reactionary.
Right.
You have to adjust, but you don't want to overreact to what you saw in Game 3. For example, give it to the Raptors, who made shots, right? And you can't overreact to that, per se. Obviously, you've got to adjust to some of the adjustments that the Raptors made. They were packing the paint, as an example, cutting up drives, making it more difficult for a guard. So what do you do against that? We're watching them today, and they're working on the transition offense out here, right? Those are the little things that they're working on to be better for Game 4.
The Raptors were bottom 10 during the regular season in terms of three-point accuracy. They came out and hit their first 5 triples, 12 of 16 from the field. It reminded me, when you said that, and the Cavs were playing the Celtics years ago. Teron Lue in the playoffs, Marcus Smart came out and hit 4 or 5 threes. And Teron Lue was asked, hey, are you going to change defenses on Marcus Smart? And that was when Marcus couldn't shoot the 3-ball very well. I said, no, it's Marcus Smart. We're going to do what we do. And it almost reminds you, Serena, of how well the Cavs played in games 1 and 2. You don't have to do this all over again. They have a recipe that works. They just need to get back to doing it better.
On top of that, give the Raptors credit. Scotty Barnes played out of his mind. Had one of
31
his
apiece,
best
Scotty,
games
Scotty Barrett,
on both sides of the ball. You have R.J. Barrett, who also scored 33. And then we didn't even mention Battle, who we saw in the regular season.
Same thing.
So he comes out there off the bench and scores, 14 in the fourth quarter? He was a DMP, John, in Game 2. So sometimes you have games where everything goes right. I think if you're the Cavs, you look at halftime, the score was tied, and you think to yourself, man, there's so many things that we could have done better. Also, Cavs missed a ton of just wide open looks.
We do it again Sunday afternoon, Game 4. The Raptors look to even the series. The Cavs look to take a commanding lead. We will see you again on Monday night. We'll be back home in Cleveland. For Serena, I'm John. Take care.